Hello, hello, everybody.
We're back, baby. It's the Noski Show. Chilling with my boy Vinny, as always.
Chilling with my boy Noski, as always. Excited to be back yet again. Thanks for tuning in yet again.
We got episode 2 of the treasure hunting series coming back at you guys today. So it's going to be a good one. It's going to be a fun day.
We are pretty excited about today's topic, for sure. First and foremost, as usual, how you doing, Noski? What's new? What's going on in your life?
Living the dream, buddy.
You're always living the dream. I bet you if we go back to every single episode, you say, living the dream, buddy. I feel like that's catchphrase. Put that shit on a t-shirt.
No, I had a good weekend. It was my niece's, or my goddaughter's birthday. Got her Nintendo Switch.
You got her a Switch?
Yeah, I got her the OLED.
Fucking badass uncle alert.
With the Mario Kart, package one or whatever.
So it comes with the game. It's got is it like Mario Kart decorated too, or what?
It didn't look like it, but it was like the OLED, the nicer one with Mario Kart. So I'm like, all right. Then I went to
that's pretty legit.
Then my 80-some-year-old grandpa was like, "Oh, I'm going to the bar." So I'm like, "Well."
Who's saying no to grandpa?
I'm not.
Nobody's saying no to grandpa, dog.
So then I had to follow him home. This close to taking out his grill, backing in the driveway.
And you were worried about him.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
The grill, get another one of those. Not another one.
The grill will be fine.
Yeah.
Grandpa made it home safe. That's what's important, folks.
Good.
Shout out Grandpa Skeet.
Yeah.
Grandpa, I didn't.
Cheers, you Gramps.
I don't know if it's disrespectful to call him Grandpa Skeet, but
no, we can roll with that. How was your?
I'm back.
I'm
back,
trip
baby.
Sat on.
I had fun. I had a lot of fun. Did a lot of drinking. The big surprise there. The game was fun. Seeing my friends. The game was crazy.
I was watching that game at work.
First of all,
don't tell anyone.
Hard worker. First of all, we lost.
Yeah.
Whatever.
It came down to the end, though.
It came down to the last fucking 4 seconds.
Yeah.
We got Giannis firing up a couple triples he shouldn't have taken. He did hit one though. Okay. Yeah. In the stadium, it was like me and my 2 friends who came with. Shout out, you know who you are. And they're both Suns fans.
Yeah.
And the rest of my section was Bucks fans, baby.
So they came out in force.
Dude, the cheers for Milwaukee were almost as loud every time they scored as when the Suns scored.
Nice.
And after the game, my buddy, wasted, all fired up. He's shouting through the fucking stadium. And he's like, let's go, Suns. He got all the energy in the world. Nobody's matching his energy.
Damn.
Bucks fans look happier leaving than he does when he realizes no one's going to cheer with him. And he starts talking to people walking out. He's like, why? You guys aren't hyped? We needed this win. They'll be fine with the loss. We needed this win. We're still trying to reach a play-in tournament. And he got so upset, dude. He's ranting on Facebook or on Snapchat for hours afterwards, dude. He doesn't even fucking remember it.
Bitching out his fellow fans.
I talked to him the following day. We hung out, and he's like, did you see my Snapchat? I was like, I was with you when you filmed your Snapchat, buddy. It was hilarious. We might have got a little drunk, but they did something pretty legit. They had $2 waters, $2 hot dogs.
Okay.
I smacked like 4 dogs, 5 waters, 17 beers. Yeah, exactly. So, we were vibing.
Fuck, dude. Speaking of basketball, I went out for a Thursday because I had Texas Tech winning everything. They freaking win. So, I'm at the bar, right? Kind of drunk already. Drinking. It was National Whiskey Day, so I was having some whiskey as well.
What? And I missed this?
But, so then they're down like 25 points. It was the second biggest comeback in college football history. So I'm like, all right.
Basketball.
I'm like, yeah. What did I say? Baseball?
You said football.
Football, whatever. Basketball.
What did I say? Baseball? No, you said football, bro.
I don't do sports. Anyways. But then I'm like, all right, if they fucking win somehow, I'm buying the whole fucking bar a shot.
Oh, shit. Of whiskey?
Well, I drink tequila. I don't know what everyone else drinks. Well,
National Whiskey Day. I'm drinking tequila.
Well, yeah. I was just drinking whiskey at my buddy's house. This was at the bar. So
shit, dude, that's
let's
too
just say
good.
I felt like a piece of shit on Friday.
Why?
I was a piece of shit. I didn't feel like it. I was.
Felt like was.
I mean, it was like $40, but still. But then, yeah, Saturday they lost to Florida, so whatever.
Well, fucking. It's going to be Florida Duke in the championship. I don't necessarily want it to be, but it's going to be. Yeah. And then Duke's going to win it all.
Well, it was the first time in however long they said it was like all number one seeds or whatever.
Yeah. All 4 number 1 seeds are going to the Final Four.
Yeah.
Duke's a different beast, in my opinion. They're all good, but I think Duke's a different
that one
beast.
guy.
I was really pulling for Michigan State after the Badgers got eliminated, but
Yeah. What's the one guy's name on the
Cooper Flag,
Yeah.
first overall draft prospect of 2025.
Yeah, I've heard
Probably
of
going to
him.
wind up on a Jazz or the Wizards, some bullshit team.
Yeah, probably.
I hope he goes to the Jazz.
Yeah.
But I could talk about this all day long, so we should.
Well, yeah, that'll be the next one.
We should maybe
So,
get
getting into
rolling
today's
here.
topic, we got last episode, if you guys tuned in, we talked about the lost Dutchman's Mine in Arizona. Vinny did come back with the treasure.
Yeah.
So this will be our last episode. No, I'm just
It was nice knowing you guys.
but no, today's topic is probably one of the most well-known outlaws in American, really, Civil War time history. Jesse James.
Jesse motherfucking James, born in
absolute
1847, died in 1882, 35 years old.
Yeah.
That was a pretty long life
He
for
died.
those days.
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty average, actually, for those days.
Yeah. I mean, back then, yeah, late 1800s. Yeah, you probably not. You're drinking more beer than water just because
Well, the barber is also the doctor in that day and age, so, yeah, you can't count on him too much.
Yeah, you take what you can get. But I guess some fun facts about him. He was a Confederate guerrilla. Not like, the animal, but the...
So he was
War type.
part of what were called the Confederate bushwhackers out of Missouri.
Not
And-
that kind of bush, but yeah. He was also seen as like a Robin Hood-y kind of figure as well.
Revered almost.
Yeah.
Revered in a sense. He born in Missouri, Kearney, Missouri, married his first cousin,
Wild.
mind you, had 2 kids, Zerelda Mims. No, married his first cousin, Zerelda Mims, and then had 2 kids, Jesse Jr. and Mary.
People say he would kind of tip his hat, mid-robbery, do the whole...
Well, he's cowboy
a
as
gentleman.
fuck. He was a gentleman. He was a perfect gentleman of a bank robber and train robber.
Nicest bank robber you'd probably ever meet.
Well, the stories of Jesse James are wildly portrayed, right? And
Yeah.
Western folklore. Until we did our research, I love Jesse James.
There's a
Kind of
lot
find out he might kind of have been a piece of shit, but we're going to get into that a little bit here, folks.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, just for the folks, so this is like a wanted picture. This must have been fairly kind of towards the end of his...
that's Missouri, I assume. Missouri.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was one of the other ones because of the reward on this one.
$5,000.
Anyways.
Well, this is late because this is talking about the Northfield,
Minnesota.
which is one of
Minnesota.
the later one. It was last actually robbery, which we'll get into. But yeah, I mean, he was like a strapping young lad, good looking dude. I mean, probably pulled back in his day.
Well, for late 1880s, probably a good looking dude.
Yeah.
I am wearing my Phoenix Pride hat today.
Probably has all his teeth.
Probably had all his teeth that didn't get punched out in bar fights and such.
Yeah.
So what led us to Jesse James is the legends of hidden treasure.
Of course.
Assumedly, what he may have hidden away could be worth up to $50 million in today's market with historical value and inflation.
Yeah, I mean, there's also ties to this secret Confederate society called the Knights of the Golden Circle. And it's more of a kind of grand conspiracy, but if true, I mean, the value could be immense.
Because of the history, it really thickens the plot.
Yeah.
These Knights of the Golden Circle, though, assumedly bad dudes.
But supposedly he was hiding either gold caches, weapon caches for these guys. kind of helping them out. So
it was
true.
I feel like might have been some sort of, you help me, we help you type of thing. Maybe they were in power of some sort and they had been able to keep the law off of his case for the better part of a decade.
The old school Illuminati. Yeah.
So this KGC, just to touch a little bit on them, they were founded by George W.L. Bickley, who wanted to create a new country after the Civil War.
If the South would have won, probably. Yeah.
That had after the South lost, he wanted to go make his own country where slavery would still be legal. And it's a whole debacle of terrible human being shit, which we could touch base on another time because it's a whole podcast worth at least, if not more.
Just a pod just on those guys. That would be fun. But I mean, today we kind of are going to focusing more on kind of just the heists, the robberies, the exciting side,
the fun shit that Jesse did with the gang.
His wildest heists, his outlawish behavior. This is all kind of the mid to late 1800s,
1860s, 1870s into the early 1880s.
But they basically worked with these other fellows called like the James Younger Gang, bunch of brothers.
Okay, so the James Younger Gang consists of some primary founders. Jesse James, his older brother Frank, and then this gentleman Cole Younger, who has three brothers who end up doing parts and jobs with them, Jim, John, and Bob, in a handful of crime throughout their history. But Cole, Frank, and Jesse were the main founders of the gang in the early days, post-Civil War, which, for those of you who don't know, ended in 1965.
I know, it would be 18.
Yeah, 1865. Yeah. I was just checking you.
Okay, good check. But really, I mean, where this whole kind of his bank robbery, heist career begins is in Liberty, Missouri, 1866, February 13th.
Less than 1 year after the Civil War. Less than a year.
And it sounds like a lot of these guys were mainly ex-Confederate guerrillas, but they basically stormed a bank in Clay County.
The Clay County Savings Association.
Right, which was, I guess, tied to Union interests at the time. So
they still got big beef with the North at this point in history, and assumedly throughout the rest of their lives.
Right. But these guys, they basically burst in, yelling at people around, shouting orders. A 19-year-old clerk, William Bird, was shot through the heart when he tried to hesitate. Another guy, Green Up Bird,
brother,
weird name.
Brother, it is a fucking weird name.
Green Up.
What
kind of names are they having?
He's our second born. We already have William. Might as well fucking name Green Up.
Draw him out of a hat.
Josh.
But
what's your favorite color? What's your favorite direction?
Well, your name's Green Up, son.
Green Up Bird.
I
dig it.
They basically got 57 grand stuffed in a sack, which would be about $1 million today.
So their brother Green Up, after seeing his brother William shot to death, is like, oh, fucking take it. Here's the money. I'm done. Right? I ain't no heroic shit going on today.
Going down like the brother.
Then you can assume Jesse tipped his hat.
They came outside, popped a few fucking rounds off. Desk pop
style. I like that. We need to bring a gun down here someday.
Next episode, night.
Desk pop.
We'll just leave it right. There was a 17-year-old student, George Wymore, was also killed in the crossfire. But
unfortunate in the outcome of.
Yeah, at least he had a normal name.
The escape. At least he had a normal name.
But this was, kind of America's really big first daylight bank robbery, obviously leading to the stories we all know.
Really,
like Don Dillinger and kind of all that after the fact.
Really started the trend of, hey, we don't have to wait till the sun falls. Let's do it in broad daylight because no one's expecting it. Let's get ahead of the curve here.
Let's not be sneaky. Let's be loud, fiery, and just kind of
come get us, motherfucker.
Just kind of send it,
Full send.
But this was their first big score. Lots of gold, lots of silver, lots of bonds.
And they had been robbing like roadside stagecoach holdups and stuff. Nothing crazy, but this one puts them on the map. Puts them in the eyes of the government. Puts them in the eyes of local folks across statewide. Really starts building the name of the James Younger game.
Yeah, really the biggest start to his career, I will say. Then he kind of goes from banks. He's like, let's try to fucking take down a train. Why not?
And how he starts getting this information is interesting, right? Because how you rob a bank, who knows what you learned? Maybe old Green Up said some shit. And it's like, hey, there's cash flow coming on this train delivery here or there, save my life, blah, blah, blah. But he does divert to largely train robberies after this first bank holdup.
Yeah, kind of goes on a train spree, so to say. With the first one being Rocky Cut, Missouri, which was July 15th, 1873. So, about like 7 years later. But this one's actually all the way over in Iowa. So
this is one of the first ever documented train robberies west of the Mississippi. It's already Western frontier, not a lot going on, not a lot of people. They got to have a bank here and there, but it's not popular ground. It's not populated ground. So this is one of the first ones west of the Mississippi. Jesse is like, hey, let's try something new. Let's get ahead of the curve here.
Right. He was definitely a pioneer when it comes to these, these kind of heists, which is very, very interesting. It sounds like this train was carrying gold from a San Francisco mint. So, long ways away, but definitely had a lot of goodies.
It's crazy that they settled San Francisco so early, and they have a mint all the way in San Fran,
right?
And they're sending it back east.
I mean, trains were pretty big back then,
But trains were the only solid method of transportation.
That
was it.
Okay, but it was a Chicago, Rock Island, and Pacific Railroad Express train. So Jesse, Frank, 5 others, planned the ambush at
Assumedly
midnight.
them younger boys.
Yeah, right. This was the first train hit. They loosened a rail with a claw bar, tied a rope to it, and yanked it as the train approached, sending the driver crashing into a ravine. The engineer, John Rafferty, died in the wreck. His skull was crushed.
R.I.P.
The gang was wearing KKK hoods. They stormed the express car.
Oh, not good. Not good for our boy Jesse.
Not a good look.
Not a good look. No.
Pistol whipped the guard. They dynamite the safe. They got $2,000 in gold coins, which would be about $50,000 today.
That's one of the most interesting things about all these heists.
How much it's worth
that
now.
They pull off is the rate at which it's grown to today's standards. Like, if there is lost treasure, dear God, let's find it.
We gotta like and subscribe. We will bring us Twisted
We're counting on these YouTube dollars.
Yeah, and we will
to fund our expedition.
Sponsor us trying to find them. We might die in the process, but we're gonna try.
But it'll be fun.
It'll be recorded.
It'll be recorded. Live streaming coming soon.
Till the end. So they, this is pretty successful. They take off into the woods. They're leaving a wrecked train behind, dead guy. But yeah, basically, this was kind of their shift towards, bigger titles, and now they're gaining a lot of more notoriety, reputation.
Yeah. So
at this point, getting bigger.
They're
more known.
They're more well known, and I would have to assume people are coming to them with this knowledge of deliveries. Like, you can't just pick any train right? And
He's got to know someone on the inside.
Yeah,
to know
he
that
made
this train's coming.
connections. He's making a name. He had to have made connections, right?
Yeah.
It can't just be Confederate ex-war.
I mean,
veterans.
who knows? Maybe he was, as this Robin Hood figure talking to people with not a lot of money. He said, "Hey, you give me the information on when this train's coming. I'll give you, whatever percent or in gold or whatever it is."
And I would like to hope there's a shred of dignity in this guy after all the racism and shit that he would actually follow through with that for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you would hope so. I mean, it's kind of like that's tough. I mean, you're on. If you're kind of born there and you're doing like you're just kind of and that's your location, kind of. It's kind of like that's maybe a bad example, but we're Bucks fans because we live in Wisconsin.
That's a pretty bad example, but I guess I do get what you're getting at.
Like
there.
location has a lot.
Location has a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
We're not all racist in Wisconsin. Don't take it that way.
Yeah, but it is interesting. I mean, who knows? Maybe he was obviously he was somewhat of a piece of shit, murder, robbery, but it sounds like he at least was robbing from the rich, giving to the poor. So
I'm not saying it was right, but at the time, your upbringing, your surroundings, that makes all of us. That shapes all of us is our surroundings and our upbringing. So not right, but understandable.
Yeah, I mean, teaches them. Obviously, we're not condoning anything like that, but is what it is. Jesse
so that kind of rolls us into Gads Hill, Missouri. This was another one of his big robberies back in 1874. Took place in the Ozark Hills, Missouri. Big natural park reserve, right, area. Now it is.
Ozark is, very beautiful today. Like it's definitely a place I want to visit.
Yeah, I would like to check it out too. So the gang hit the Iron Mountain Railway this time, the Little Rock Express, and it was carrying a payroll and passenger cash. This is one of only 2 times in documented history that the James Younger gang stole from passengers.
Right. Normally it was just hitting the safes and the big cash.
The big scores, the big dirty. That's what they're generally going for. This is one of 2. They flagged the train down with old signalman method using red lanterns, which tells the train conductor, something's off, you need to stop or whatever.
Basically tricked them into stopping.
Pretty sneaky.
But yeah, they forced this conductor, William Westfall, to stop the train, then ransacked the express car. Again, using dynamite, blasting it open. Pretty badass.
Dynamite!
$2,000 in cash, $30,000 in gold and silver, which would be over $700,000 a day. There's this witness story that they checked the passenger hands. Supposedly we're here to rob the rich, not the poor.
If your hands are calloused, not that you can see, but much like mine are, you are assumed to be poor.
And they're not gonna
assumed to be a hard-working human.
You. Right.
Your hands are well manicured, well taken care of, soft. Give me your money.
Right. Give me those
Give
diamonds,
me that
those pearls.
fucking bankroll.
No one was supposedly killed during this one, so not too bad on that end.
Way to go, Jesse.
This was kind of one of the bigger ones where the speculation of the loot from this one is one of the kind of the bigger caches hidden.
The Ozarks are one of the more common assumed hiding places for potential James Younger gang.
So if any of these are still out there, maybe this might be one of the biggest ones that are still maybe out there and still.
It's the one I'm kind of buying into. It's the one I would.
I think it's the one we should look for.
I think so too. But I'm also starting to think that maybe fuck treasure hunting. Let's just go bank robbing instead.
Live stream it.
And live stream it, dude. Like and subscribe if you want us to do that.
I mean, it probably won't last long, but we could create a couple episodes. We can
a couple. That's a. If we get past one, I'm impressed. I'm fucking impressed. If we get past
on the run for the first,
on the run
from the first, make it to the second, and
one big take. and then steady running.
We'll just have to hide the treasure like Jesse James, you know? Stash it.
I know the perfect place. Guys, promise not to tell the cops. I know the perfect place.
Secret. We'll leave clues in the videos, and then the real fans will go.
Yeah, the real fans. Well, we have one real fan. So just kidding, guys. We love you all.
Follow us on Twitter. We have one follower, so you could be the second.
That's a pretty big brag. You could be the second Twitter follower.
That would be solid. Moving on to the Otterville, Missouri train robbery.
Get it right, Noski.
Otterville. You get the
all right. So this fast forward us to 1876. 2 years later, Jesse and Frank at it again, right?
Night robbery.
Missouri Pacific Railroad near Otterville, really trying to bring their bankroll up. Assumptions are that they were frivolous spenders. They hit these big licks, maybe stash some away, maybe blow it on fucking whatever, you know. They're party animals. We know it.
There was speculation that they kind of spend their money
prostitutes,
freely, you know, living the life.
Yeah, you know, and they're taking, and $15K only goes so far when you give it back to the poor, Robin Hood style.
Yeah. Well, and you're partying like a rock star, probably, as he probably was.
Party like a rock. Yeah, for sure. I think, I don't know, I think they probably were partying a little more than sharing the wealth, but.
Yeah. I mean, the Robin Hood thing was probably just a look. He was probably just fucking doing.
He's just trying to extend that as much as he can, you know. If the Gen Pop is on his side,
right?
Look at fucking healthcare shooter guy. What's his name?
Luigi.
Yeah, look at him.
Yeah. Everyone's like, free Luigi, but it's like he killed someone.
Bowser didn't just take Peach; she took Luigi too this time. Fuck.
God damn it. But this time, during the train robbery, they used rocks on the tracks. That was able to fucking, you know, basically crash it.
It's a little bit of a sketchier plan than derailing it themselves, but
yeah, I think I like the flag method the best.
That took intelligence. This one was.
Let's put this fucking big rock here on the train. Let's see what happens.
What are they going to do? They're going to stop in time? No, it's a train. It's never going to stop in time.
I mean, they were strong enough to move the rocks. So basically, lurching off the rails, they stormed the car, they beat the guard unconscious, they cracked the safe with dynamite again, they get $15K in cash, which would be about $400,000 today. Fired a few rounds in the air per usual, you know, tipping his hat, scattering the passengers, and rode off.
You know, at this point, Jesse and the gang, they've been fucking shit up for 8 years.
Yeah, and it takes a toll.
If you're fucking, I'm not even worried about the gang. I'm thinking if you're that train guard and you see these boys are coming, are you like, all right, I'm going to be the one to stop them? It's been 8 years, no one stopped them. I'm going to be the one. Or are you thinking, you know what, fuck it, just take it. Just take it. I don't care anymore.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I imagine most people have at least heard of.
I would imagine that he's plastered all over the place with that fucking wanted poster.
That mugshot, yeah.
That mugshot. I don't think it's a mugshot. I think it's an artist's rendition.
Yeah. Bounty hunter poster, basically.
Well, yeah, that's exactly what it is.
So from there, this is kind of where he begins the fall off or his demise, what leads to his demise. Kind of switches from trains back to banks. Northfield, Minnesota. So September 7th, 1876.
Now this one hurts.
Yeah, this is probably
this one's tough on the gang, folks.
Not a good day for Jesse, Frank, and the gang.
Yeah, I'll let you divulge it a little more.
So it was the first national bank in Northfield, Minnesota. It was rumored to have Union Reconstruction funds. It was a pretty bold move.
Now, mind you, Jesse had moved him and his family to Minnesota after being hunted down in Kansas, Tennessee, and Missouri at this point by the government. He's been on the run, moves to Minnesota. We find ourselves here.
Right. And so this is also daylight robbery, 2 p.m. 8 of these guys splitting it up. Some hit the bank, others guarded the street. There was a cashier, Joseph Lee Haywood, stood strong, refused to open up the vault, even as Jesse was about to, pointing a gun to his head, about to blast him.
That takes guts.
Yeah.
That takes big balls.
Outside, people kind of caught word of the situation. There was a few armed ex-Union kind of soldiers around the town at the time, and caught wind and were like, hey, we got, this is Jesse James. We got to get this motherfucker.
Rally. Yeah, exactly. It's a city militia at this point.
So they kind of post up outside from, rooftops, other building windows with rifles and, staking it out, waiting for him to kind of come out and, try to stop him. Bullets start flying like fucking crazy.
I mean, you got to take your shot, right? You might collect that bounty.
Well, yeah, and I'm sure they got this hate from, he's a fucking Confederate trying to steal from us. We're a Union
He's
guy.
been on this shit for 8 fucking years.
Right, they're like, this motherfucker, we can finally probably get him. So 2 gang members were just destroyed. One guy, Khalil Miller, shotgun blast to the face. Another guy, gang member Bill Stiles, shotgun blast to the chest. So they get fucked up.
This is tough, dude. Shotgun blast to the face.
Yeah, I wish we could pull up photos of that. But
I can't believe nobody was videotaping.
Right, in today's age, it would be.
In today's age, it's getting
videotaped all over fucking Instagram.
Oh.
But the cashier Haywood, he was shot dead for standing up to him. The gang flooded with $26.70. This would be about
score
$200,000. No. I'm just kidding.
This was a huge letdown for them. They had been primarily successful up until this point,
this
right?
This was kind of the big fall off, or really the start to the end.
Really starts causing disruption among the gang. Not only that, this job led to the arrest of Cole, Jim, John, and Bob Younger.
All the Youngers.
All the Youngers get caught up in a manhunt post-robbery.
Jesse and Frank barely escape, by the seat of their fucking pants.
Skin of the teeth.
Yeah. Obviously it was very humiliating and kind of ends the gang's peak, and, a lot of dead bodies left behind. So, yeah, that was
It's a trail of blood, for sure. Things start going downhill. Now we're getting into
how it kind of ends for the James brothers. So this kind of starts, the bounty. These like Pinkerton detectives put out this bounty for him. They get some money. They still have some money left from the previous heist. They're on the road, running. He's using different aliases like J.D. Howard. He's moving his family around all these different places, like you mentioned, like Missouri, Tennessee, Kansas. But by 1881, he's barely getting by, planning smaller jobs. Frank's kind of like
looking
not
to
feeling
get
it
out. Yeah. Frank's like, hey, little bro, we need to give this life.
He's the older brother. He's like, I'm getting too old for this.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. He's probably 36, 37.
Right.
He's like, I'm already lived past my expectation, man.
Looking to settle down.
Time to get a real job.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll apply to be a bank teller.
But that was, the Otterville was really kind of their last big score, and then the Northfield was kind of the last robbery, but obviously that was a complete disaster. But 1882, they get him. Jesse's taken out by Robert Ford, who was also a gang member. Shot him straight in the freaking head.
Robert Ford, accompanied by his brother Charlie, were both members of the James Young gang. We're talking straight betrayal coming at you right now.
Shady stuff.
Shady stuff. So 1882, Minnesota, Jesse has lost a bunch of gang members. He's thinking, man, I can't trust anybody other than the Ford brothers anymore. Everybody's leaving me. Everybody's looking for an out. He pitches a job to them. And they decide, we don't want to rob the Platte City Bank of Missouri. We want to collect that, what is now a $10K bounty
On
Jesse James. So this is what happens. They go on, they kill him. His son verifies bullet in his head, coming out behind his left ear. Governor Crittenden of Missouri had offered the Ford brothers a pardon to kill Jesse James. So they collect the reward. They get the full pardon. And these two motherfuckers allegedly go on to become playwrights and put on performances of the killing that they performed of Jesse James.
Oh, they did like plays and shit.
Yes, that's how the story goes.
Floating it. Yeah, and then basically Frank surrenders 6 months later to this same governor, Crittenden. He faced trials for Otterville and other crimes, but walked free, acquitted by sympathetic juries.
I bet you these were some charismatic motherfuckers, dude. Frank and Jesse were probably like, what's his name? That murderer from the 80s. Yeah, anyways, that guy I totally know the name of.
But I mean, they probably still had that kind of Robin Hood-ish vibe to him, which probably definitely some.
That's what I think. He probably got a favorable jury.
Yeah.
Fuck, that vodka is working. Forgive me, folks. That vodka is doing the job. I think I need to rip a Zinner.
Chino Upper Deck. Thank you for Zen for sponsoring this video. Whenever you're drunk off vodka, you just pop in an Upper Deck. No, just kidding. But yeah, so
do not take any of this seriously.
Joking. So, right, big question, kind of. And there's a lot of stuff out there on this, but it's like, where is this treasure hidden? There's a lot of different clues. One kind of cool location associated with this is Buzzard's Roost in Cement, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
We can kind of see on the screen here. And there's this really cool, like, rock formation where it was believed to have a lot of, there was a lot of tree carvings.
So
things.
Maybe there was hidden code, right?
Yeah, some people speculate like there was a lot of tree carvings that would kind of point to the treasure, kind of like this one here. However, a lot of them have kind of been, worn off and.
That looks like a fucking blade, right? That's a dagger. Or
yeah, this
sword
is like a gun,
right?
and then this is a gun, and this is like a.
That's in a tree?
A blade, yeah. This is supposed to be one of the tree carvings in Buzzard's
Looks like it's on a
Roost.
mountain. I might just be drunk.
Or it could be a rock. I believe it was a tree, though.
It kind of doesn't look like a fucking tree. Like, where's the bark on that sumbitch?
Yeah. Maybe this one was actually a rock. Kind of hard to see here. Yeah. But, I mean, this was where a lot of these kind of carvings were basically the start of where they thought this kind of treasure guide was. There's also
so this all kind of leads to these alleged secret diaries kept by James and alleged coded maps kept by James, potentially in connection to the KGC. This is all detailed in Daniel J. Duke's book.
Yeah.
What's it called? The Lost Templar Treasure, Secret Diaries, which after decades of research, Daniel J. Duke, the great-great-grandson of Jesse James, made this book, published in 2019, following geometric and esoteric symbols alleged to encode locations of buried treasure. Now, for those of you who don't know, because I had to Google this today, esoteric is a message intended for or likely only understood by a small number of people with similar knowledge or interest.
Yeah. So an interesting thing here, which is related to the KGC, this is pulled kind of from the book here, but it has this
Could be a treasure map.
It has this kind of cool geometric shape, which you guys can see on the screen. It's a alleged KGC treasure template, which was kind of said to be needed to like use as an overlay over something. Not really sure.
You would
exactly
have
what,
like I would assume it's like a land plot map, and you lay this over it, and it depicts hidden treasures based on circle points or maybe another hidden message we don't fully understand. No one's been able to figure it out yet.
Yeah, but it's basically, speculate that there's each of the four corners are supposed to be where the largest treasure caches are located. The stars and circles or dots are said to be to mark the locations of smaller caches. As for the 8 symbols that many refer to as turkey tracks. There's definitely several theories on this. But yeah, this is kind of the picture again.
And
here.
Maybe it's just a symbol that the KGC utilized to, I don't know, signify a certain decorated member or whatever. But it's one of the few theories out there that people have taken a lot of traction from.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is honestly, definitely we should look into this book more. I think it's pretty cool.
Say we just plop it on every map ever. And
just
just search them all, right?
Yeah, not a bad idea.
We can afford to do that.
There's also this cave I kind of found. It's the Merrimack Caves, which was supposedly from the Gads Hill robbery.
And these are the Ozarks, right?
Yeah.
See, this is the one I'm into. This is the one I'm feeling more.
It's supposed to be like one of his kind of hideouts too.
And it's beautiful.
Yeah. Like honestly, I would go just to check this out on its own, to be honest with you.
And maybe find some treasure on accident or on purpose.
A lot of cool stalagmites, stalactites. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, which one's upper, which one's lower?
Stalactites are upper, stalagmites are lower.
I don't know the answer, so I'm just going to take your word for it. He's probably right. He is an engineer.
I just said that
very confidently for the hope that
I was correct, Stalag.
Oh, you're so fucking smart, dude. Your college is fuck.
Yes, sir. Yeah, stalactites from the ceiling, stalagmites from the ground.
Because that makes total sense, right, guys?
Yeah, the T with the M,
The T with the M to the I don't know.
I guess there's also speculation of treasure in areas like Fletcher, Oklahoma, Wichita Mountains.
There is theories of treasure in every known living location of Jesse James. So that's what makes this one so much more difficult to try and track compared to our last treasure hunt, which was...
There's a lot more information.
Largely one place.
And it's a lot more vague. That was...
a lot more information, but it's a lot more vague.
Yeah, whereas obviously the Lost Dutchman, it's like, it's...
Pretty solid.
Superstition Mountains, it's...
Pretty superstitious.
You got the Peralta tablets, you got a lot of different stuff.
But with this one, people have been looking in all these locations. Nothing's turned up yet.
Yeah.
But you would imagine it's harder to cover all this more ground.
There's a lot of different locations. Like here's a map of it's from a Civil War battle site that this one treasure hunting team basically believed there to be, basically a map. So it's located in Tennessee from the JJ records. According to this, there's on the map here, you can see there's an arrow to some Confederate depositors.
I wonder if we overlay the KGC map on
here.
this
Let's see where. Ooh, that's not a bad idea.
for next time.
That's not a bad idea. So yeah,
It's a good. It's not a good map, actually. It tells
terrible.
us very little.
yeah.
And this is
I mean, the mountain
depicted
detail is
in
kind of.
the Daniel J. Duke book that he had found and researched himself. And mind you, great-great-grandson doing this for decades and decades. So
He's looking
maybe
into it probably more than anyone.
he's probably got more solid fact than anybody, right? He might have some passed down family knowledge that he didn't share.
Yeah.
Maybe he already cashed the treasure in.
He just wrote the
Get
book.
this book
Wrote
published.
the book to cover it up.
Throw it off the track, dude.
Throw you off the trail. That would be fucking elite genius.
That's elite genius. I concur.
Oh yeah, brother.
Hell yeah, brother.
Well, I mean, who knows? Maybe we can go try to find this one day. That'd be pretty sweet.
Well, maybe one day.
I think we
got
should
closer treasures to find.
Yeah. I think we should dive more into this.
I think we will be
KGC.
talking about the KGC again.
Pretty
If
wild.
you guys think it would be interesting to learn about the KGC, Knights of the Golden Circle, Confederate-led post-Civil War secret society.
Or other secret societies, yeah. Drop a like, drop a comment. What you guys want to see?
Just like and comment already, guys. God, I've been telling you for fucking weeks. Just kidding. I love you guys.
Anything else you got on Jesse James?
I used to like him. Now I kind of think he's a piece of shit.
Seems kind of an asshole.
Seems like he's kind of a dick. So, sorry, Jesse, you're out. Felix Baumgartner, you're still in. Do you know who that is?
No.
Felix Baumgartner. Quick side note.
Word.
Felix Baumgartner fucking worked with Red Bull and skydived from outer space, jumped off a satellite and skydived all the way back down to the earth, sponsored by Red Bull.
That sounds pretty badass.
Yeah. I mean, if that's not an American hero. I
don't
mean, I
know
don't
what
think
it
he's
is.
American at all, but I could be wrong. I don't know.
Red Bull
for sure.
hero.
He's a Red Bull hero,
Oh yeah.
and Red Bull can be consumed by anyone.
And it gives you wings. Thank you to Red Bull for just kidding. Sponsoring this video.
We're really reaching for sponsors here.
Just kidding. We're not sponsored by anyone.
Don't
But-
sponsor us because we're never going to be censored. Go fuck yourself,
Yeah.
sponsors.
Exactly. Go fuck yourself. This is the Noski Show. That's how we do it.
Thank you very much for tuning in. We always love having you.
I love you guys. Check us out. YouTube, X, Spotify. That's where we're at. It's another episode of the Noski Show in the books. Love you guys. Take care.
Proud of you.